Hi everyone, it's John from What Up and welcome back to another video, and we are just a few short weeks away from the release of Season 2 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, and we did get a trailer not too long ago, and I did do a trailer breakdown video. However, there were a few things I missed, and I did get a couple of things wrong. So I aim to rectify that in today's video. We're going to go through some of the things I missed, as well as some of the mistakes I made, and we're going to talk all about the trailer in anticipation of Season 2, because like I said, it's only a couple of weeks away. Now, if you're new to the channel, you don't know what we do here, it's pretty evident at this point. We cover Wheel of Time show news, pretty much anything and everything to do with the Wheel of Time. That's what we talk about here. So if you like that sort of thing and you want to see reviews, Easter egg videos, and breakdowns for every single episode of Season 2 when it comes out September 1st, make sure you subscribe to the channel and, of course, like the video if you like what we're doing here. Now, before I get into the video, I do have to give a bit of a spoiler warning because we are talking Season 2 of the show. So, spoiler warning, if you have not seen Season 1 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show, that's episodes 1 through 8 on Prime Video right now, or have not read the first 3 books of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, that's The Eye of the World, The Great Hunt, and The Dragon Reborn, be forewarned, I may ruin plot points and character arcs from both of those mediums. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is Nynaeve's accepted testing. Now, we know we're going to see it in the show, and we think at some point or another we're probably going to see Egwene's as well. And it was featured quite heavily in the trailer. Now, I did talk about it in my trailer breakdown video, but I failed to mention a couple of different things. The first thing is the archways. I mentioned them very briefly, but I didn't mention how they were different from the books. Now, in the books, they are silvery, futuristic-looking metallic archways that are connected together. In the show, of course, they look a little bit different, and they are stone-carved archways that more fit the tower bedrock that's in behind them of the bowels of the tower. Now, I think it was a smart aesthetic choice, and we've seen them close up before in interviews with Rafe Judkins and Sarah Nakamura, the book consultant, where they did a Q&A for JordanCon. And in that particular shot, they looked an awful lot like the stone artwork that you'd see in the Serpent Temples in the Conan movies. And I've mentioned a few times since then that I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but it almost appears to be a nod to the Conan franchise because Robert Jordan did write a few of the Conan novels. Either way, pretty cool, and I do like the design choice personally for this. Second thing I failed to mention is who is in this particular shot. Now, Nynaeve is there, played by Zoe Robbins. Of course, it's her testing. But who are the 3 Aes Sedai behind her? Well, I believe them to be, on the far right in the red, Liandrin Sedai, who's played by Kate Fleetwood. Behind Nynaeve, Lyanna Sedai, played by Jennifer Chiang Garcia, a fellow Canadian. And then to the left of Lyanna, I believe that's Sheriam Sedai, who's played by Rima Tibianta. Now, this is a little bit of a change from the books, but I believe they're going to be doing a lot of things like this on purpose. We only have a few core Aes Sedai that we've been introduced to in the show, or will be introduced to going forward. I don't think we're going to get the dozens or hundreds of Aes Sedai that we see in the book series, especially some of the characters' names who are very similar, who are only there for a little bit here and there. I think we're going to see this same Aes Sedai popping up here and there over the course of the entire series for a bunch of different reasons. The first one being it's cheap and it's easier to retain one actress than it is to retain 5 or 6 over a bunch of seasons. Either way, those are the actresses in question in this particular photo, and I failed to mention it in my breakdown video. Next thing I want to talk about is our actual testing itself. This appears to be Nynaeve in the Two Rivers. I think it's the Two Rivers. That does look like one of the barns in the Two Rivers. However, we're not 100% sure in this, but we'll go with that. I'm speculating it's the Two Rivers. But what I didn't mention about her testing is the fact that when the explosion first happened, the explosion of power around her during this, there were Trollocs outside. So this might be the attack on Winter Night, and it might be Nynaeve using the 1 power during that attack, or it could be something a little bit different. Either way, she's definitely in stout Two Rivers woolens, so I believe she's probably at home. I'm not quite sure when this attack takes place or what alternate reality takes place in during the testing, but it might be Winter Night, or it might be something just a little bit different. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is this. This is when Rand meets the Amyrlin. Now, I did talk about it a fair bit in my trailer breakdown video, and I centered around the fact that it was very exciting to see Rand using the cat crosses the courtyard stance as he's walking down the hallway to meet the Amyrlin, because it's a pretty big point of the books in The Great Hunt when he uses that particular stance when Lan snaps at him to use that when he's going to meet the Amyrlin. Very, very cool. But what I failed to mention, or what I mentioned incorrectly rather, is that when Rand came to see the Amyrlin, I said a bunch of times that they were in Tar Valon. That is not the case. None of this matches the motif or the aesthetic of Tar Valon, and we've seen a bunch of circumstantial evidence that points to this being Cairhien and not Tar Valon. We know that the Amyrlin is doing sort of a tour with Logain because Rand gets to meet Logain, they talk for a bit. The Amyrlin is coming out of a stagecoach in some of the promotional materials, so we know she's on the road, and we know that Moiraine is going to visit family in Cairhien, and her sister has been cast for the show, so likelihood of them all kind of meeting up in Cairhien is pretty high, and the fact that Moiraine will probably take over from Perrin in sort of being the buffer between Rand and nobility and meeting the Amyrlin is also likely fairly high. So, like I said earlier, in my trailer breakdown video, I mentioned this scene a fair bit as being in Tar Valon. It's not in Tar Valon, it is likely in Cairhien. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is this. This is a shot of High Lord Turak, rather, drawing his sword. Now, I've talked about the heron on the blade. I talked about it, how cool it was with his long fingernails, and how epic the battle between him and Rand are going to be, because it does look an awful lot like Rand is kind of squaring off with him and some of the Seanchan soldiers in the different shots in the teaser trailer. But what I didn't mention is what was on the blade itself. So there is some writing on the blade here, and it is the Old Tongue. That is Old Tongue script. I, however, haven't been able to totally translate it yet. I've only gotten a few of the letters out of that. I know some of the fandom have already tried, but I personally haven't been able to do it. I basically took a shot of the sword and tried to enhance it the best I could, and this is what I got. So the script is upside down and kind of flipped here, so if you flip it the other way and sort of enhance it, this is what you get. The last few letters are IN. I can't match it to any known phrases in the Old Tongue, but if you folks are smarter than me, I'd like to hear what you folks think that this particular saying is, or if you've seen it already translated online by someone else and I missed that, let me know in the comments down below. Either way, a very cool shot and a nice little Easter egg when they include Old Tongue markings on weaponry, on different props. We know in the first season there was some on a land sword. There was also some of the guideposts that were going around that stated major cities. Really very cool and a nice Easter egg to the fans, and really hard to catch unless you're really looking for it, but very neat nonetheless. All right, so for the next couple shots, I got to move my little camera up here. Let's move me up here because the things we want to look at are mostly in the lower left-hand corner. Now, over a year ago, we got a behind-the-scenes sort of teaser trailer about Season 2, and it included this particular shot right here. This shot shows Uno being knelt. Now, in the background in this particular village, we see Perrin, we see Loyal, we see what appears to be the person who's playing Lord Ingtar or Maesma, I don't know which one, and there's also a bunch of Seanchan soldiers and villagers back there too. This was pretty cool at the time, and no one really knew what was going on. We knew that Uno was being knelt by some Seanchan, but we didn't know why or how. Couple that with this particular shot here from the trailer we got. We see High Lady Suroth, we see all of her honor guard, we see the Damane, we see the Suldam. They're all kneeling, they all have their hands over their hearts, and it looks like everyone in the audience has been knocked to the ground. This is likely just after that shot. So on the far left of this screen, you see Perrin, you see some of the other villagers and whatnot. The Seanchan are now ringing the villagers. I don't know if this particular shot happens before or after this shot. If it happens before, Uno's likely hurt from the battle. He's on the ground. Everyone else is on the ground because they were frightened into being on the ground by the Seanchan. And then everyone is made to stand up. Uno is pulled to his feet, put to his knees, and made to swear the oaths. That's what could happen. Because, I mean, it's quite possible. However, what I think is probably more likely is, take a look at Uno here. He does not look knocked out. He doesn't look like he's going to be getting back up at all. I think likely something happened to Uno after this shot here that caused him to be sprawled on the ground like that, which likely scared everyone else, knocked them to the ground in fear, and they're kind of cowering before the Seanchan. Either way, a very neat shot, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about this earlier on in my trailer video, but makes you wonder what's going to happen between the Seanchan and the Shienarans in Season 2. I think it's going to be an important plot point, and I can't wait to see it myself. All right, the next thing we'll talk about is this. This is something else I got wrong in the teaser trailer. This is Suroth and her long fingernails. A very, very cool shot of what Seanchan nobility or the blood looks like with their long lacquered fingernails. But in the trailer, there was sort of a noise of either a blade being drawn or sheathed whenever she tapped her fingers down. It happened very quickly, and it sort of sounded like the fingernails were retractable, which would have been cool, gave me Wolverine-esque type vibes. That is not the case, however. Since then, it's been pretty much unequivocally proven that that is not the case, because you can go through the trailer frame by frame and her fingernails are there all the time. The depth of them changes as she points at the camera and then points down again, along with that really weird noise. I'm not sure why that was included at all. Could be something happening off screen of somebody drawing or sheathing a sword. I don't think it was put there intentionally. Either way, I was wrong on this one. Her fingernails are not retractable. Next thing I want to talk about is this. This is Marcus Rutherford as Perrin, and he is definitely 100% fighting some Whitecloaks here. So I know that he fought them during season 1, and a big part of his storyline was that he killed a bunch of Whitecloaks, and that the Whitecloaks are after him for that to bring him to justice. I think we're going to see more of that in season 2. What I wanted to mention, though, is the Whitecloak that he's actually fighting in this scene. We're not sure who it is, but I have an idea that it might be Joffrey Bornhold. Now, if you take a look at this particular shot from the behind-the-scenes thing that happened well over a year ago, the Whitecloak center screen here with the white hair is likely Joffrey Bornhold, so we know that he's at the Battle of Falma, and this particular scene with Perrin also looks like it could be from the Battle of Falma because of the stonework in behind him. So, my wonder is, does he actually kill Joffrey Bornhold in the show, and that's what causes Dane to hate him so much. I know in the book series, Dane blames him for his father's death for a very, very long time, but will he actually do it on screen rather than sort of a convoluted mishmash of misinformation like it was in the books? Either way, I think it's kind of neat, and I wanted to showcase that. Give me your thoughts on who you think this Whitecloak is. There is some golden knots of rank there. It looks like around his neck. I'm not 100% sure on that because we haven't seen some real good pictures of Whitecloak costumes, especially for the Lord Captain Commanders for Season 2. But I think this is likely Joffrey Bornhold, and I think that Perrin might have a bigger hand in his downfall than he did in the book series. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is this. It's an explosion that comes from a keep. So it's coming out the door onto sort of the bridge going into the keep, and you can see a few people being thrown in the air here. Now, it was very quick in the trailer. You couldn't see much. I went through it frame by frame. We do get 2 shots of it. One is from above, and one is from behind it. Now, this fireball does seem to be blowing some people out. It's hard to tell if they're Whitecloaks, if they're Seanchan soldiers, if there's someone else. Is this Rand doing this? We're not 100% sure in this. Now, we do know for sure that Rand confronts High Lord Turak in Season 2. We've seen that with our own eyes in some of the promotional material. We do know that he's confronting a number of Seanchan soldiers. We know that Turak draws his blade when he's confronting Rand. I'm hoping that Rand does the whole sword fight with Turak and that he wins, just like he does in the book series, and that when he does that, all the other Seanchan around him just kind of kneel and cower, which is exactly what happened in the book series. I'm hoping for that. So I don't know for sure if this is Rand or not fighting his way out of that battle. I don't think it is. I think this might be likely a Damane or someone else, perhaps in the rescue of Egwene. But either way, kind of a neat scene that I glossed over in the trailer breakdown video. I didn't talk about it very much. There are some people thrown here by the fire, and you can see from above. It's really hard to tell who's causing it, but it's definitely a power wielder. Don't know who it is. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Now, we're coming to the most important part of the things I missed in the teaser trailer breakdown or the trailer breakdown video, and that is the gentleman that I said was Rand. All right, so these scenes here with the power-up blade killing the Fade, I instantly said, it's Rand, he's killing the Fade, really cool, you can see the power-up blade on the screen, and I left it at that. I'm super wrong. I'm sorry about that, but I was super, super wrong. Not even remotely close. It's since been proven that this is 100% not Rand. It's also called in question that this may or may not be a power-up blade. We'll get to that in a second. So this particular scene, you see a flaming sword erupt from a Fade's chest, and this particular person behind them is wielding the sword. Now, if you enhance the photos just a little bit, you see that it is someone with longer hair and a ponytail, either has very prominent facial features, a very prominent chin or a beard, white billowing sleeves, and a dark vest. That's pretty much all we know. We get another shot of it here, same type of thing. Still not sure if that's a beard, if that's a prominent chin, or if that's a part of his outfit. Either way, it's definitely not Rand, doesn't match Rand's description at all. But that's a power-up blade, right? If we look back at this, it's definitely a power-up blade, so who else uses a power-up blade in the series besides Rand? Well, that's the wrong question, because there are a couple of other people that do it, but Rand is the only one that uses it prominently all of the time, and it becomes sort of a running joke that he has all this power at his fingertips and he's using it to create a fiery blade to kill Fades and Trollocs with when he could just think them dead with the one power because he's so strong. So, if it is a power-up blade, it has to be a male channeler. So this could be who? Asmodean? Maybe, possibly. I don't think it's going to happen. From what we've seen from the trailer when Rand is meeting with Logain, I think Logain may take some of that role from Asmodean and actually teach Rand some things. I don't know if we're getting Asmodean or not. I really hope we do. He is a fan favorite, and he's definitely one of my favorite characters, but I don't know if we will or not. The other one it could be is Mazrim Taim. That is a possibility. They could introduce him this earlier as another false dragon. And he's on the road and on the run, and that's how they introduce him to the storyline, rather than him just waltzing up to Rand in the book series like he does. A little bit of a spoiler for beyond the third book, but not too big of a one. I'm not going to describe what the character does. But I don't think that's the case either. I don't even know if we're going to see Mazrim in the book series. I think that Logain may take some of his stuff as well, mainly because they're trying to cut down on the number of characters, they're trying to cut down on the number of storylines, they're going to compress some things. I think Logain may actually take over his roles as well, which does give Logain a beefed up, much more major storyline, because let's face it, Logain's storyline was pretty sparse for quite some time in the books, and if they want to keep Alvaro Morte in the show, they're going to have to give him a bigger role. So I think he may be taking on some of that as well. The other theory is that this is not a power wielder at all, that the flaming sword is sort of done by a female power wielder, by another Aes Sedai, in giving their warders an extra oomph to fight a Fade. It's possible. Now, we did see this particular image from the behind-the-scenes teaser trailer that happened about a year ago. The back description of this person sort of kind of looks like the person in this picture, just a little bit. Same sort of hairstyle, same vest, same billowy sleeves, same stripes, I think. So this could be the same person, but the question is, who could it be? Could be anyone. At the time, I thought this might be Kyrian nobility because of the rising sun in the background of this photo. I really don't know. I'm not 100% on this at all. But there are some theories that this could be Thomas, which is Varen's warder. Now, in the book series, in The Great Hunt, Moiraine basically goes to get some advice on some different things, and she ends up seeing a couple of Aes Sedai sisters. I think that they're going to be cut from the series. We may not see them at all. I think that Varen will likely take their place, and that Moiraine may be going to see Varen, and that Varen's warder is the one that comes out and saves them, and Varen is channeling to help the warder sort of dispatch the Fade. Not 100% on this, but it is a theory that's out there, and a theory I do like. So let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. Who do you think this mystery man is at the end of the trailer? Is it Varen's warder? Is it Asmodean? Is it Mazrim? Is it someone completely different? I want to hear all your thoughts and theories on this, because this one is puzzling to me and to a lot of other people in the fandom right now. We're not 100% on who this could be, and I'd really like to know. All right, so that's a few of the things I missed, a few of the things I got wrong, and I'm sure there are more, and if there are more, let me know in the comments down below. I'll kind of gather them all up and pin the comments so everybody can read it all in one spot. Now, we're only a few short weeks out from Season 2. I'm pretty excited. September 1st is only about 3 weeks away right now. I have a ton of stuff coming out the next little bit. I still have a survival guide series that's coming out. I haven't got a good time to release it yet, but it's already filmed. Basically, it's a who's who and a what's what for Season 2. Completely spoiler-free. If you haven't read the books in a while, or if you've never read the books, it'll give you a good refresher and a good idea of who you're going to see in Season 2. That's coming out in the next couple of weeks. I'm still doing news, reviews, leaks, rumors, all that stuff will still come out in the next couple of weeks. I'll cover all the Wheel of Time Wednesday releases, because we should have one every single Wednesday up to the release of Season 2. And then when the season actually comes out, you'll see at least 3 videos for every single episode, a review, an Easter egg video, and a breakdown video, likely more. There are unanswered questions or special things that I want to explain that are in each video, or each episode rather. I'll do videos on that too. So at least 3, maybe as many as 5 or 6 per episode. Either way, it's a great time to be a Wheel of Time fan. My favorite times the last few weeks prior to the release of the season, and the actual first couple of weeks of the release of the season. I'm excited about that. Now, I've had a couple of people ask me some questions. So if you don't know, my DMs on Twitter, my DMs on Instagram, and my email, wide open. You guys can send me anything you like. If you have any tidbits, leaks, information, things that are going on with the show, you know, of course, join my network of eyes and ears. Send me an email or a DM. I'd love to have you. I'd love to hear what you know about the show, and I'll include it in videos. And of course, if you'd like, give you a shout out. If not, I keep you confidential as well. Either way, if you know anything about the show, let me know. But through those avenues, I've had a number of questions over the last couple of weeks. What can we expect? Are we going to see theater releases like what we saw with Season 1? Are we going to see a premiere like we saw with Season 1? If you're unaware, they did a bunch of theater releases all over the US and a couple of them in Europe, where they had content creators host a theater release of the first episode or 2, and they got to get up and talk a little bit, and they got to see it in the theater. A couple of my friends did it, and I was lucky enough to be part of one in the States. I didn't go, but someone walked around with me and an iPad and asked people questions that were in line, and I got to host the video here on the channel. It was a whole lot of fun. They didn't have any in Canada, so I was kind of hoping they might this time, but I've heard nothing about that happening this time. Doesn't mean it won't, but I've heard nothing about it. Also, I've heard nothing about a premiere. They had a series premiere in London, a blue carpet for episode 1 and I believe episode 2 of the first season. And I've heard nothing about that for season 2. That, again, seems more like a series premiere rather than a season premiere, so I don't think we're going to get that kind of engagement. Plus, right now, with the strikes that are happening, likelihood of any of this happening is pretty slim. I'm going to say almost none. I've also been asked, did I get screeners? Am I all ready to go? Are all my videos done? Nope. The answer to both is no. I didn't get screeners. Some content creators do. I know for season 1, a ton of them got screeners prior to, so they could do their spoiler-free reviews. They could get ready for dropping their videos after season 1 came out. And a lot of them were not Wheel of Time content creators. They were just different content creators trying to pull in more of an audience. I was not one of them for season 1. Again, not one of them for season 2. So what I will be doing is I will be watching the season as it drops with you folks, and then immediately recording my thoughts afterwards. And like I said, you can probably expect 3, 4, maybe 5 videos per episode, and they'll be out almost immediately. I'll watch the episode, sit right down at the computer while it's all fresh, do my videos up, release them to you folks, and then go watch another episode. So you're going to see a ton from me, especially in the first week. So I want to thank you all very much for sticking with us here to the very end. Here's to many more.